people controlling this reality in full knowledge, handful, compared with the global population. I see a way out of this. And it's by looking in the mirror and seeing who we really are and not who we've been manipulated to believe that we are. It's by beating to a different drum, not going with the herd, being the maverick. As Martin Luther King said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We are at a time of challenge and controversy. Where we stand now will decide where we go from here. We either accept the hypnotism so that we stay in line, stay on the computer disk, or we free our minds and remember who we really are and the power we really have, and what a nonsense all this stuff is when you look at it from another perspective. They must tell, people tell Irish jokes, and I don't know what you tell in Croatia, but in America they tell Polish jokes and all these stuff. I'm absolutely convinced that the Martians must tell Earthling jokes. They must. They must. It must be hilarious to watch. So why have we got in this state? I started out nearly 20 years ago, well actually, almost 20 years ago now, crikey, doing a simple thing. I started to ask the big questions because I wanted the big answers. Who really controls events in this world? Who am I? Who are we? Where are we? What's this reality? What is it? Did anybody ever ask that? Not many. Oh, don't know, mate. What's on telly? So I started asking the big questions. And over this 20 years, and I'm going to go into a lot of detail today. I hope you're going to stick around. It's going to be a long one. And it's very clear that there is a multi-leveled conspiracy, and I'll go through the multi-levels through the day, to enslave humanity. Some of it we see with men in dark suits. Most of it, like an iceberg, we don't see, because the men in dark suits are merely the outer expression of this conspiracy. The real controllers and orchestrators you never see. But crucially, and I've seen this in the last 6-7 years where I've really focused on this, we cannot possibly understand this world if we don't understand where are we, who are we, and all these questions here. What is reality? What is life? Only when we get some kind of fix on that does this world suddenly make sense. And when you ask those questions and you pursue them, you find that this world that we think is so real and so solid is just an illusion. The physical world's an illusion. It's not physical at all. It just seems to be. Get into why in this first part. Now, if you're a few behind the people, and you know that this world's an illusion, and you know how we generate it, and you know how people can be manipulated to generate a reality or a sense of reality that suits your agenda, you are in a massive position of power over vast numbers of people who don't know that. Why? Because no one tells them. Because the education system and the media and science is all there to stop them finding out. This is a great line from a great American comedian, Bill Hicks, who died in the 1990s at the age of, I think it was 33. All matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration. We're all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. The bottom line of this conspiracy, below all the other stuff, banking scams, engineered wars and stuff, is the manipulation of humanity's imagination of itself. The false identity. So, we are in a world that is illusory in the way we perceive it. How that is, I'll get into. But you've only got to look on some basic levels to see how we see what the brain decides we should see as it decodes the information it receives. This is a man, well, you've come across him, there's loads of his pictures on the internet now. He draws chalk pictures on the flat pavement. What you're looking at with that big butterfly, that is actually done on a flat pavement. But because of the way it is done, the brain reads it as a three-dimensional form. It's not, but the brain reads it that way. Same with that. Same with that. Same with that. All these are just flat pictures. Same with that. And these optical illusions are just manipulating the brain to read reality in a way that it reads something that's not really there. Now, when you take that into much, much deeper levels, but the same theme, the same principle, then you can start to see how our reality is manipulated by those who know how it works. All these are... I mean, is that a box or is that 7 sections? Depends how you read it. A bird in the bush. Except that it doesn't say a bird in the bush. It says a bird in the bush. Why? Because the brain is used to it meaning a bird in the bush, so that's how it reads reality. We miss so much that is there because the brain doesn't read it. That's a tree. But this tree are full of faces. All over the place are faces. Subliminals. And again, that's another way that we're manipulated, because the mind takes in everything, but the conscious mind only sees the tree to start with. Now, as I put the baby back, everyone, I would say, everyone, the first thing you will see when you see this image now will be the baby. Because what has been unconscious has been brought to the conscious mind, now you can see it. The idea of the conspiracy is to hold as much information as possible at the subconscious level, so it's affecting us, but we're not actually seeing it because our conscious mind is not at that level of perception. As Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And why it's persistent, I'll come to. So, big questions to find big answers. And over the last 6 years in particular, the synchronicity of my life has taken me more and more, and it's still going there big time now, to an understanding about the fact that we live in a virtual reality universe. We call it a virtual reality game. I mean, it may be, but virtual reality universe. And is that too far-fetched now? Because as our technology moves on, we are starting to mirror, with our technology, the very reality that we're experiencing. I mean, this is virtual reality, and they're getting better and better and better and better. And projecting forward, we will be able to produce, eventually, something as real as this world we perceive now. When you look at this, it's a real face next to a virtual reality face. I mean, even at the level now, which is way back from possibility, we're seeing this. We're having virtual reality training, virtual reality flying. And these, in some of these hospitals, they're putting the goggles on to give virtual reality experiences of things that are very cold to people who are having burns treated, because it affects the body in a way that keeps it cooler than it would normally be, because it's tricking the brain. And what do you do with these virtual reality games, these real, major ones? You wear gloves. Why? Because they connect to the senses of touch, feel. You wear the goggles. Why? Because that's the sense of sight, etc. What they're doing is just accessing the 5 senses, very appropriately, to create a sensation of virtual reality. Well, that's what we do. That's what we're doing now. The 5 senses don't need gloves and goggles from a game, because they're doing it anyway. The game just short-circuit. short circuits what's normally happening and gives it another false reality called